Welcome to Full Circle. I'm Suzanne McAllister. Well, it was in 1956 when President Dwight D. Eisenhower spawned the idea of people to people, and that launched a program called Sister Cities International. On today's show, we're going to meet 4 students who just returned from a trip to Italy, and they will tell us what they are doing to bridge international friendships. Well, to start off our conversation today, I am so pleased to welcome Henry Cole and Jackie Chatterton. Henry is the president of the state chapter of Sister Cities International and the chairman of Noblesville Sister Cities. And Jackie Chatterton is involved in the committee. She's been a chaperone, a host, and a myriad of activities. And by the way, I might add that both of these individuals are volunteers. So Henry, what exactly is Sister Cities?
Well, Sister City is where you link a city in the U.S. with a city in a foreign country. And the whole idea is to give opportunities in the U.S. city of the youth to learn about another culture and for exchanges that will go on between those two cities. And there's a myriad of things that have been done. And when we started our Sister City, I told the other 2 cities that in our programs, here's a whole list of things that have been done, but I think we should just concentrate on the youth exchange, on international business exchange, and travel exchange.
So with all of these exchanges, it's not a loose organization. The mayors of the cities actually come together and sign an agreement to make this all happen, don't they?
That's right, and then we send a copy of that agreement into our headquarters in Washington, D.C.
Well, I think that President Eisenhower certainly had a great idea that we can have much better relationships when we are people to people, person to person. That really ties into the mission of Sister Cities. Tell me what the mission is.
The mission is to promote peace through mutual respect, understanding, and cooperation through one individual, one community at a time.
So how has it changed your life, Henry? You've been so actively involved. You've traveled a lot. You're a part of many activities.
Right. It's really opened my eyes. And a lot of people like myself that have been involved in politics in the city they lived in, when they got done with that, they stayed active as a volunteer in Sister Cities because they saw the good that can be done. And it's really been an amazing thing. My wife and I have had travels to Russia where we met with Mikhail Gorbachev with a small group of our people. I've traveled to Italy many times representing Sister Cities and in search of our Sister City, which we now have in Cittadella.
Well, yes, Jackie, let's get you involved in the conversation. Henry just mentioned Cittadella. Noblesville, you're both from the Noblesville chapter, actually is unique in the fact that there are 2 sister cities. Tell me a little bit about the 2 cities and what it takes to host a student.
Well, we are fortunate in that we do have 2 sister cities, both Nova Prata in Brazil as well as Cittadella in Italy. And even more unique in that they're not just a one-on-one relationship, but the 3 of us have a 3-way relationship in our Sister Cities agreement. And what that means is every 3rd year we each take a turn at hosting high school-aged exchange students, their chaperones, and other dignitaries. Oftentimes the mayor, city council members make the exchange with the kids. And really all it takes to be a host family is to have a high school aged student be a Noblesville resident and be willing to open your home and your family to the experience of hosting that student. It's only about a 10-day commitment. And your high school age student is partnered with that foreign exchange student for all of the activities and entertainment and fun that we have in store for those kids. So it's a great experience. We became involved about 2.5 years ago when we were asked to host an exchange student, a young girl from Nova Prata, and we fell in love with the program and have been actively involved ever since.
And in fact, we're going to meet your daughter. She's going to be coming up after the break. But first, Henry, I want to have you describe a little bit about the process of why Noblesville has 2 sister cities. And I understand there are about 2,400 sister cities relationships around the country, but only 3 have this tri-city relationship. Yeah. You were the one that really spotted a connection.
Yeah, well, our first Sister City was signed in 1996, October, with Nova Prata, Brazil. And when I took a small delegation there, I was amazed. I thought I was in Italy. The streets were cobblestone, and the names on the businesses had a lot of Italian names. So I inquired, and I said, what's going on? And they said at the turn of the century, 1900, there were very little inhabitants in that part of Brazil, which is the state of Rio Grande do Sul, which is the most southern state next to Uruguay. And to encourage people to come and live there, they put advertisements in newspapers in Poland, Germany, and Italy, offering free land for settlers, just like the old West days here. And the majority of people that came and took advantage of it were from Italy.
That's interesting.
And now they have about 70%, close to 70% of their population has an Italian heritage. So when I saw that, when I was there, I told their mayor, and I said, and they had told me that the Veneto region is where most of their ancestry came from. And I said, we have tried 2 times a trilateral agreement with our organization. And I says, if we can find a city in the Veneto region that will link with both of us, we could form a trilateral agreement between all 3. And the mayor got all excited, and he thought I could just go home and just snap my fingers and do that. And I knew that it was going to take some time, but the people all cheered at a final dinner that I was going to do this. And when I went back, I checked with our mayor, and he was in agreement. It took 4.5 years. Some letter writing and a couple of trips to Italy to put it all together.
Well, congratulations on that. And we might mention that you are a former mayor of Zionsville, Indiana. So, Jackie, before we do take our break, I want to find out from you how this whole experience has changed your own life.
It has been a wonderful experience. I was very apprehensive when we were first asked to host a student. We have 5 children of our own, and it's a little bit of a crazy, hectic household in the summer, as you can imagine. And I worried that she might be overwhelmed or lost in the shuffle of our life. But she was like having a 6th daughter staying with us. We still exchange emails and postcards and holiday greetings and all those kinds of things, keeping in touch. She had hoped to get back to the States and visit us again, but that trip fell through, so there's still hope that maybe we'll get to go there and see her, or she'll get to come on another opportunity. But that experience made me realize that it was an experience I wanted to provide for as many of my children as I could by becoming involved. And so we were just thrilled that Corey was not only able to go as a student exchange participant, but I was able to go as one of the chaperones. It was fantastic.
Well, thank you, and congratulations to both of you. The whole individual connection that Sister Cities provides is absolutely fantastic. If you go to our website, we will give you some more information about Sister Cities International. Don't go away. We're back with our students after this.
I'm emboldened to talk because the purpose of this meeting is the most worthwhile purpose there is in the world today: to help build the road to peace. Help build a road to an enduring peace.
Welcome to Full Circle. We're continuing our conversation about the Sister Cities program. We have 2 students who just got back from Cittadella, Italy. They're here to tell us all about their experience. Joining me now, we have Chase Elliott. He is now a freshman at Ball State University, and I'd like to add that he's also the son of our director, Jeff Elliott, who's in the control room right as we speak. And also, we have Corey Chatterton. Her mom was on earlier in the program. Welcome to both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you both, as you look back on that trip, what is the biggest takeaway for you, Chase?
I think the biggest takeaway would be that there are great people on the other side of the world, somewhere that we thought, or I thought I could never get to, or there would be too many obstacles to get to. I actually got there and got to see that there are fabulous people on the other side of the world that are just waiting to interact with us and to really build connections.
And to really learn what it's really like person to person and not through the media or through a book or a movie.
Sure.
Yeah, good to hear that. And Corey, what about you? What's your biggest takeaway?
I would have to be in agreement with Chase. I think that before the trip, I thought that the world was so much bigger than it actually is. And because of this program, I was able, like he said, to go to a place that I didn't think it was going to be possible. I mean, I had read about Europe in textbooks, like we said, and seen it in movies, and it had always been a fantasy of mine. But actually getting to go, I saw that we are more like other countries on the other side of the world than we think we are, and our cultures are more similar than we think we are. And that was a really eye-opening experience for me.
Yeah, having the world be something that now is attainable to go to all ends of it. So Chase, as you look back now on that experience, if somebody's considering going, what would you say to them in terms of why it is so important to have this kind of sister city exchange program?
Sure. I would say to just be open to every experience, to try new things, whether that be food or different things that you do in the house. We were in the house living with a family there, and just living with them really makes the difference. I was talking with my dad after, and talking about how much different the trip would be if we weren't staying in homes, if we were just tourists touring Italy. It would be so much different because you would lose that connection and lose that real sense of belonging in
Sure.
the household.
You got behind the scenes, you weren't in a hotel.
Exactly.
Did you find that to be a really important part of this program, that you actually stayed with the families?
Yes, absolutely. I think that's what makes the program as unique as it is, because you're not just being placed in a hotel with the same tourist stops that you would get if you were to go on a vacation with your family. You're actually staying with the family, and in that sense, you are completely immersed in the culture. And we were treated as dignitaries as well. So we got to meet the mayor of both Cittadella and Nova Prata. We got to interact with different notable figures of both countries. And I think that's also another part of the program that's so unique that I wish all students could experience.
Sure, and one of the unique aspects, or perhaps maybe an imbalance of the program, in other countries it is funded in part by or all by the government, but here there has to be funds that are raised that will help you students go. Tell me what some of the surprising things were that you learned. You mentioned the food. Were there other things that surprised you about the environment and some of the places that you visited?
Yeah, definitely. Something that was really cool to kind of experience in the household was even though they're speaking different languages, or a different language, you can tell what they're saying to each other. And the home environment is pretty much the same as it is here in America, just that family structure. Also, just the American, like American music. They watch that and listen to that. They watch American TV shows, and they're all translated into the language, but I thought that was very interesting to see that.
Sure, again, that building the bridges. So, Corey, what were some of the surprises that maybe your host family had when you were talking about your own hometown? What was the reverse of that? Were they surprised to hear some of the things that you talked about from being in Noblesville?
I think the biggest difference between the way that we live and then the way that they live is that their parents, it's very traditional, so the parents still are kind of the head of the household and do everything while the kids go to school and then come home, and like a dinner is ready for them when they return home, and everything's kind of done for them. The mom still cleans the house and everything, and I feel like back in the United States, teenagers have more of an added responsibility to help out more around the house and to almost be another adult figure for younger siblings, whereas in their household it was still very traditional. The mom would still cook the meals and get the house prepared while the father was at work. And I think it was kind of interesting to see their family dynamics. And another thing that was very different were their school systems as well. They're expected to choose a subject that they want to study around middle school, and then they pursue that subject all the way throughout their higher level studies, whereas we have core subjects that we study.
Sure, it's an interesting observation. So Chase, last question. Do you have the travel bug now? Do you want to just travel and see some more of this world?
I do. It's a great world we live in with different people, different cultures. I plan to definitely go back to Europe, to Italy, and you know, see maybe someday go into Asia, go hopefully maybe to Australia. I don't know.
Well, Sister Cities definitely changed your lives, and I want to thank you both. Chase Elliott and also Corey Chatterton have been our guests. They have just returned from the city of Cittadella in Italy. It's all part of the Sister Cities program. Well, don't go away. We have 2 more students waiting in the wings. Stay with us. Today on the program, we're talking about sister cities. I encourage you to go to our website and find out more about these unique, eye-opening experiences. Well, our 2 guests that are in this segment of the program know what it's like to go to an international location. They have returned from Italy, and it's my pleasure to welcome 2 students from Noblesville High School. We have Mitchell Brown and Nick Hanna. So I'm glad you're both here on the program.
Thank you.
So I want to start with you. Tell me, because you know, this is a commitment, not only a commitment of time, but a commitment of money to go. Was it worth it?
Absolutely, without a doubt. The application process isn't all that difficult. You write an essay, you fill out it's like a basic application, your stuff you do outside of class, your extracurriculars, your grades, your name, basic health information, that kind of stuff, and then you have your interview. Once you get through that, they will let you know if you're accepted or not. And then from then on, it's all fun, actually. So
you obviously were accepted when they gave you a call or let you know that you were going. What was your immediate reaction?
It was kind of like just a yes kind of moment, like, because I knew my brother when he told me it was one of the greatest experiences of his life, and it's hard for me to like display my great excitement. So I was thrilled.
That's great, and good that a sibling had gone as well. Nick, I understand that you had a sibling go on an international exchange as well. So what was the program like for you as you reflect on it? What would you like for us to know about how it changed you and your perspective on the international world?
Well, I had actually traveled out of the country a couple of times before, but doing it with the Sister Cities program is not like doing it as a tourist where you go to touristy areas and get to see just tourist shops and things that you would expect to see. You actually get to see bits of the country and the culture and the people that you wouldn't see if you were to travel to the country on your own. So the Sister Cities program exposes you to a lot more of the country other than just the tourist side of it.
So were there some surprises when you did get out into the broader area and away from those tourist spots?
Yes, I actually I'd been to Italy once before, and I didn't really see corn. And when we were in the area that we were doing our homestays, it actually reminded me of home. Like there were times where if I was just looking at an image, I would have thought it was a picture of my own city.
Sure, the similarities. Well, we talk about building friendships internationally. Last question for you, Mitchell. Do you still stay in touch with your host family, and do you feel like you'll get to see each other again?
Yes, I do stay in touch with my host, Eliza Simeone. We keep in touch on Facebook with the Messenger app. We don't really write each other just because we can basically text each other, instant message. But I'm hoping that she's going to be able to come here this summer so that I can host her after she hosted me.
So if she's watching, what would you say?
I would say thank you. Thank you to her and her parents and both of her brothers for being just awesome hosts. Loved hanging out with them. They couldn't have done a better job.
Well, that summarizes it all. Thank you both so much for sharing your experiences. Now don't go away. We will be back with more Full Circle after this.
Stay tuned. Musical Showcase is coming up next. And now, here's our Musical Showcase.
Thanks for joining us today. I encourage you to find out more information about the Sister Cities International program. Well, I'm Suzanne McAllister. I'm glad you could be with us, and I'll see you next time, Full Circle. Now here's Carl Hines Trio to close out the program.